Indonesian helpers make up almost half of the foreign domestic workers in Hong Kong, serving as a backbone to many of the city's families. But who should pay the fees charged by agencies to facilitate their work and settlement in Hong Kong? Should the helpers or the employers shoulder the fees? In a sixth part of our Connecting Indonesia series, TVB News spoke to key stakeholders in both Indonesia and Hong Kong about the policy contentions and considerations.
The agency charged me for 4 months my salary, around 3,000 every month. But for some others, the agency charged for 6 months. This is not fair.
Earlier this year, the so-called zero-fee policy for Indonesian domestic helpers have elicited mixed views in Hong Kong. Under it, Hong Kong employers would have to shoulder the agency fees of Indonesian domestic helpers. They include the transport and administration costs and could rack up to some $20,000. In mid-August, the SAR government said any policy change concerning the hiring of helpers here must be conducted on the basis of government-to-government meetings, following a meeting with the Indonesian consulate in Hong Kong. Thomas Chan Tung-Fung, chairman of the Hong Kong Union of Employment Agencies, said it is still possible for the zero-fee policy to be imposed.
This issue was put aside at the moment, but it doesn't mean the Indonesian government give up or totally cancel this kind of policy, because transferring workers' late costs to employers is the national policy.
The SAR government noted the extra burdens heaped on Hong Kong employers could in turn affect job opportunities for Indonesian helpers. To look for more sources of helpers, Labour and Welfare Secretary Chris Sun met with consuls general from Cambodia and Bangladesh in August to discuss a possible increase of domestic helpers from these two countries. Still, the 140,000 Indonesians account for nearly half of the city's domestic helpers. Around 750 domestic helpers from Bangladesh are now working in Hong Kong, and even fewer from Cambodia. Thomas Chan said it's a global trend that employers bear more of the agency fees for helpers.
If employers in Middle East, they want to hire a Filipino worker and Indonesian worker, on average they have to pay, or they have to offer about $5,000 to $5,000. By that way, they totally cover the cost of the workers migrant to other countries. That's why I'm saying, try to increase the burden of employer. It's a war train. Now it's only matters of the time.
TVB News also spoke to Indonesian lawmaker Charles Honoris in Jakarta, who told us their government's perspective.
If they are economically well, then they will choose not to work as domestic workers abroad, which is why I think ethically and morally we cannot also impose charges to them to be able to go abroad.
Charles Honoris also told us he hopes to upskill the labor force in Indonesia, including those working overseas as domestic helpers. In that way, despite the increased costs, foreign domestic helpers who can speak Cantonese or have better skill sets could still appeal to Hong Kong employers who need help to care for their families.